Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. My name is Brent McGrath, and I am the host of Talks and Discussions, What Matters and What Doesn't Matter. And today we have a very special guest. His name is Arellano, and he is from Barbon, Financiero. Good morning, Aurelio. How are you?
Hi, Brent. I'm really glad to be here with you.
We're glad to have you because today is my favorite topic, finance. Who does not care about finance? So my question to you is this: how did you get into finance, and why is it so important to you?
Okay, my story, it's a little bit funny because I studied electronic engineer.
Okay.
Actually, I'm an engineer, and before I did all of this finance stuff, my life every day was to program and connect wires every day. That was all that I did, and I get bored. I get bored do that all day. My life or my passion is to be with people, to meet people, to talk with people. So it was like, it was like luck because a friend invited me to get involved with, at first with insurance, and to this day, till this day is insurance my passion. But I started to study a little bit more of personal finance and investments and savings and retirement, and I involved even more in finance because for me, my personal finances were, were terrible, terrible. And I started to learn all of this world that I didn't know. And I want to share to all the people and the world that are hearing this talk or meeting my channels. So for me, it's really important, this topic, personal finance. And when you met this story that I didn't study finance. I learned with practice. I learned with books and talking with people. So I mean, anyone can learn to do better finances. And that's my story, Brent. And that's why I'm so passionate about it.
Well, I can understand why I have you on my show then, because I'd rather talk to somebody who has a passion to do something than somebody who has the intelligence to do it. Okay? I don't think they might not be able to connect with the person they're trying to help.
And I want to think that I have both passion and intelligence.
Okay. How long does it take to change people's minds when it comes to talking about or getting them to save money?
It's an interesting question because this is going to depend on the people's story. If they have a good or a bad experience on his or her life, it's going to shape that decision. In my case, I had a lot of bad experiences, so for me it was easy to change that belief and start saving more. With other people, it's going to be a little bit harder to, I don't want to say change the mind, just to they realize that life sometimes is hard, and it's better to face those problems with saved money instead of your empty pockets,
Right.
With the majority of the people, at least here in Mexico, it's harder because we have, as a society in Mexico, really pessimist belief and religious. I don't want to say a lot about religious, but there is this phrase, Dios proveerá, God will provide,
Okay.
And sometimes it's like, we don't have money, but God is going to provide. Yes, God is going to provide for those who work and save money and face those opportunities with this good financial position. So you have to present a lot of that data. You have to present a lot of experiences, good or bad, to any people, to their so they can realize that it's better to save money instead of just wasting or spending on things they probably they never are going to use.
That's true. When I'm walking through some of the stores down here, like Soriana or Liverpool, and you see all the different things they have, and we have such an abundance of different objects in our means to buy, but do we really need them? You know, that's the case. So I got to tell you a little bit about myself. When I was in my 40s, I've been living in Mexico now here for 23 years, but when I was in my 40s, I lived down here, and I was a little bit freaked out about saving money because I never realized, or I never even thought that I made enough pesos to actually save pesos. So how can you get people to save when they think that they don't think that they make enough money to save? How do you change the mindset so they can actually understand that they can save, regardless of what you make, you can save?
Okay. I'm glad that you brought the age to the conversation, you know, because that is called midlife crisis. And I'm going to separate this question in two parts, because the first one it's a little bit more psychological than monetary. The other part of the question is more monetary or more logic, because it's how much is enough, or the rule of thumb of how much do I have to save. Mm-hmm. But the psychology behind this answer, it's really interesting, because it's a pattern that repeats here in Mexico or in Canada or in Europe, Africa. It's something that we all as humans think the same way. We are waiting a lot of time until we get to that point in our life between the 30 years and 50 years, the midlife, mm-hmm. and we start like hurrying up. You know, we have like this, we all know we are going to get old, we are all going to get to retirement, mm-hmm. and if we don't, we are going to die. You know, that is something sure that we'll know it's going to happen. So we are not focusing on that goal, mm-hmm. until we get to the middle of this goal, and we start hurrying up. So we have to realize about that, and then that you realize of this problem, the midlife crisis problem. Mm-hmm. When you realize of this problem soon enough, then you can realize, then you can think how much money is enough, or how do I need to save. And then we meet the logic part of the question, you know, mm-hmm. how much is enough, or how much do you have to save? It's going to be relative to your style of life, or right. the income you have.
Okay.
The rule of thumb is it's to always save at least the 10% of your income. But as I already said, that is relative. Maybe you have children, or maybe you have you are freelance. Your income is, you know, it's not fixed.
Right.
But the thing that you have to be really aware, mm-hmm. it's that you have to save.
Right.
The amount you want, the percentage you want, but you have to create that habit. And it's better to, instead of a random quantity of money, to fix a goal, to say, I want to save for, I don't know, a house, or the university of my children, or mm-hmm. my retirement. Right. And you fix a goal with, instead of, I want to have a good retirement, that is a little bit ambiguous, mm-hmm. maybe to put a number, or if you want to say a concept, I want to go to the golf course, mm-hmm. once a week, and you know how much does it cost. So right. save money to go to this golf course every week during your retirement. I'm not sure if I'm answering your question, or I'm just going through the through the highway other way.
No, it makes sense. I guess I never thought that in my 40s I was having a midlife crisis, but I guess that makes a lot of sense. And in order to save money, in order, like, one of the things that I try to do is, people have the concept of you pay yourself. So I take a 10% of my income and I put it somewhere else. I don't touch it. And then whatever I have left, I can spend and enjoy the rest of my life. But that part is for myself for later on, because as I get older, we all know that insurance costs and medical bills and all the other things come into play. So you need to be prepared for what's going to happen down the road.
Yeah, but I'm glad you brought this pay yourself, because sometimes I have said that to my clients or the people I know. Hey, you have to pay yourself, and they say to me, hey, but I do pay to myself, and I'm like, how? What do you mean you are not saving? And they say, but I'm going to the movies, or I'm going to shop a car. Then you are not paying to yourself. You are paying to the movies, or you are paying to the car seller. Then we have to think a little bit more of that term, but because when you are paying yourself, you are saving the money to actually pay yourself in the future. Then you won't work, and you are going to receive this money you save for later on.
Yeah, I think sometimes it's a hard concept for people to understand, but and you're right. When you're earlier than 40, I know that you don't have to save as much, but when you pass 40, if you want to start saving, you're going to, like I did, you put a lot away because you're getting closer to that magic of 60 or 65, and most people aren't going to work past that age. I mean, in my line of business, I could probably work till I'm 80 or 90 if I can live that long. So, but I don't want to take the risk that that's how far I'm going to go. I'd rather be prepared beforehand. Okay. This is a really good topic. I wish we could talk more about it, but I think that I'm all out of questions. You've answered just about everything that I've asked with a lot of good information. So maybe the last thing I could ask is, what kind of advice do you have for someone who is, let's say, in their 20s and an engineer and making 30 or 40 or 50,000 a month? And what kind of advice do you have for us older gentlemen who maybe haven't saved much, and we want to know what we can do moving forward?
Okay, so maybe with this question, we can summarize all of this talk and give really important and valuable advice.
Okay.
As I already said, the midlife crisis is real.
Yes.
It's going to happen because this is a statistic around the world. When you realize, I'm going to talk a little bit more about this, because how does this problem it's born? When you are young and you are like you said, you are engineer, you don't have so much expenses, and maybe your income is not that much, but when you don't have so much expenses, then you have all of this left at the end of the month, and your vision of life is that you are going to get more income in the future. Sometimes it does happen, sometimes it didn't happen, or sometimes it's not consistent. Maybe it's something like this or this. Right. So when you start saving, if you are having all of this left, you are saving a little bit. When you face this later on in your life, this midlife crisis, you don't have this pressure to do it. Or maybe you do have, but you already have an advantage. Okay. Important thing, if you are going to save for retirement, try to get rid of this money, separate of your savings, because then you are going to buy a Ferrari or a brand new car. Yes. in the midlife crisis. So try to get rid of that money in a separate account. Okay. If you are already in that moment of your life, if you are I don't know, in the midlife crisis, or you're on your 50s, more near to your retirement, then you can start making decisions of this money. Maybe you can invest that money. Maybe you can put to work this money in something that is not so that doesn't have a lot of risk,
Okay.
because you don't want to lose that money, but you do want to put it to work to grow. Okay. Uh, as 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 I already no, I haven't said about it, but contact an advisor, contact someone that know, because then you are going to be a little bit more relieved, because you have the advice of someone that do know how to handle money, and try to really know this person, because this person is going to handle your savings of all life.
Great.
Maybe it's going to, if you are young and you are going to hire an advisor, he is going to accompany, he's going to be with you many years. So you should trust with all of yourself these people,
Right.
and make sure he's in constant learning, because world it's always changing, and you want someone that is capable and updated.
Makes a lot of sense, yes. Okay, well, thank you very much for today, for coming on the show. I really enjoyed talking to Barbon Financiero.
Thank you very much, Brent.
Take care, okay?
You too, and save money.
Okay, I will. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.